And let's see a pricey payoff right now as we bring in this field of pacers from Harrington Raceway with number 2, Badlands Casino, who goes to post 4 trainer Vince Copeland. The 6, He's a Savage, has driver Pat Barry in the bike. And number 8, Georgie T, is coming off a win, a second, and a third in his last 3 outings.
They're off. He's a Savage out with Georgie T toward the inside Badlands Casino. Najee has the rail in 4th, racing up 5th. Dollar Bill start. Then it's Springtime Seeds. Bad Colt, and at the end, that's Yield to No One. They race over toward the back stretch and up to get the lead, Georgie T. He's a Savage races in 2nd. 3 lanes back. Badlands Casino got away 3rd. Najee races 4th. Another 2.5 lanes to Dollar Bill start. Then it's Springtime Seeds. Bad Colt in the trailer. Yield to No One. They make the way up the back stretch. Georgie T with a 2-lane lead. He's a Savage got away 2nd. Opening quarter, 28 1/5. They make the way into the far turn. Georgie T with that 2-lane lead. He's a Savage got away 2nd. Badlands Casino 3rd. Another 2.5. Najee races 4th. About 2 in front of Dollar Bill start. They make the way by the stands now, coming over toward the half. And the leader is Georgie T by almost 2 lanes. He's a Savage got away 2nd. Badlands Casino a closer 3rd. 2 lanes back. Najee is 4th, and coming to the outside is Najee. Also outside, Springtime Seas. Dollar Bill start with the rail. 3 lanes to Bad Colt, followed by the trailer. Yield to No One. They went by the half, 57 3/5. They race into that clubhouse turn the second time. It's Georgie T. Najee races on the outside. He's a Savage toward the rail. Then comes Badlands Casino. Springtime Seas just made a break. They race up the back stretch now on their way toward 3/4. Georgie T is still there. Najee races on the outside. He's a Savage has the rail. Then comes Badlands Casino. Dollar Bill start is next. No one else in it. They make the way by 3/4. In 1:27, they're into the final turn. Georgie T keeps going, leads a length and a half. He's a Savage now, has racing room. Badlands Casino soon to get room. They come toward the top of the stretch, and Georgie T turns for home, leading by about a length and a half. He's a Savage is there. Badlands Casino swings to the far outside. They come off the turn. Georgie T, Badlands Casino coming on the far outside between horses. He's a Savage. They come to the wire. He's a Savage between horses. He's a Savage is in front.
He's a Savage is aptly named because his breeder is Carlin Savage, and she is also the co-owner along with her significant other, and that's trainer Jay Gannon. The 3-year-old won by a neck with driver Pat Barry in 157-1 and paid a big price of $71.60 to his supporters. Recently at Harrington Raceway, we got a chance to find out more about this winner. Carlin, we just watched He's a Savage win. So tell me about this horse, because you and Jay are the owners and the breeder on him.
Yes. I technically own the mare, but he it was his idea to breed her, so we went ahead and bred her, and there he is.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So the sire is No Spin Zone, and the mom is a mare that you owned. Who is that?
Her name is Girlfriend Bash. My pop-up actually gave her to me as my high school graduation present.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay. Now, the horse was actually foaled. I think I have his foaling date as June 10th. Yeah, so his birthday's coming up.
Yeah, he'll be 3, obviously, June 10th. He was very late, just a lot of bad circumstances, had a big problem breeding her, and she finally got in foal based off of a suggestion from Art and Stacy, actually, to live breed her through No Spin Zone, obviously. And she caught right away, live, and there she is.
And so He's a Savage was actually born right there at your farm?
Yeah, so actually I was going to take her to, she was supposed to get shod that day. I was going to do her feet, and then she was going to go to Cindy Harris's. And at 5:30, June 10th, in the morning, his niece Courtney called and said, we have a problem. You have a foal out in the field. And she was out with like 3 or 4 other horses. So they got all the horses up. Obviously, we rushed to the farm and got her and him in. Of course, it had to be the hottest day of the year. It had to be 100 degrees. Got him into the farm, called the vet. She came and checked on him. He hadn't stood up yet. She said, give him a little bit, but you're going to have to feed him. So I was nursing her, basically putting it in a bowl, letting him eat. She came back at lunchtime. He still hadn't stood. So now we're into like almost 6 hours of him being born. He still hasn't stood up yet. She's getting tired of me nursing her. She said, Dr. Judy said, give him a little bit more time, see if we can get him up. Because he was trying to stand up, and then he'd get up, and he'd kind of wobble, and he'd fall back down. He just wasn't quite strong enough to do it. So she came back at like 7:30, 8 o'clock that night and said, you all have to either try to feed him through the night and see if that works, or you're going to have to take him somewhere. And at the time, neither one of us really wanted to take him somewhere. It's just, that's kind of your last resort, you hope. And he actually went home to get me some clothes because I was going to stay the night at the house and try to nurse him all night long on the hour. And he called me on the way back and said, hook the trailer up. We're loading him up. We're going to New Bolton. I've already called him. So we loaded them up. I rode in the back of the trailer all the way to New Bolton with him. And we dropped him off. He ended up having a blood infection. He was premature, had a blood infection. They don't know why, but so he spent 10 days up there and almost didn't make it several times. And after like 7 days, they said he was starting to turn around. He was getting really good. So on the 10th day, we brought him home. It'll make me sad. It'll make me cry. On the 10th day, we brought him home, and he was really good, actually, for like 2 weeks. And the blood infection came back. Jay noticed that his stifle had swollen up. Dr. Hannabuck came out, looked at him, took his temperature. He had a temperature of 102. He was burning up. So he called New Bolton, got the same drug that they gave him up there. We gave that to him for 7 days. And it actually cleared it up, and then he started to be fine. But that month was that was a very long month with him. So, and now he got a little sick sickness as a 2-year-old, but nothing major, and now he's back and
winning.
Yeah. Won his first race. So
yeah, he's broken his maiden now. How rewarding was that to see him cross the line first?
I think I was actually in shock, honestly, when it first happened. I didn't even realize it until we got home that night. I was like, oh my God, he actually won. He won.
Let's declare it. She was here. It just didn't hit her until they were almost home.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of a surreal feeling because that's the first one that I actually have owned and bred. And my dad and I did it, but he always owned them and that kind of stuff. But first one I've owned out of the mare that my pop-up gave me, which was really cool. So it was just cool. It was a very cool experience.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy for you. That's so great. Let's talk about him now just a little bit as far as like his character and his personality. Everything that happened when he was a baby, I mean, did it, kind of bother him traumatically or affect him or anything?
I would actually tell you the polar opposite. He is such a people person. He wants to be, I make fun of his niece because we call her Aunt Courtney. He's very much an attention hog. Like if we're standing here and we're actually standing in front of him right now, he'd be throwing his front feet, wanting you to come over and touch him or pet him. Jay stood in front of him the other day and was ignoring him. He turned around, he bit his shoulder. He's because he was touched and dealt with so early on so much, he's very much a people person.
I love it. Well, thank you for being on the show and telling us that story. I mean, that was such a great story of survival and coming back and winning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Heather.